Thank you so much, Melvin. Good evening, everyone. As Melvin has said, my name is Rosa, and I'm a Mastercard Foundation Scholar at the University of Pretoria. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we're going to start. Okay, so the first things we're going to discuss the first part of the application before we reach the essays. This is where you fill your personal details and your residential details and all the other aspects of the application aside from the essays. And the first part of it is where you are asked if you have a bursary already. And it's important to state that you don't have a bursary already because Mastercard scholarship is not offered to, most of the times, it's not offered to students who have bursaries already. So that is very important. And when filling in your personal details, it's important to ensure that you fill in every detail because they are all important. Your name, your ID, your passport number, and then where you come from, where you're living, all that. And also your parents and guardians details, that is very important. Where you went to school, and if your parents are employed, you're gonna be asked that. It's important to ensure that you fill them in. And your siblings information. So make sure the information that you give is gonna match the documents that you're going to submit later. For instance, when filling in the names of your siblings, make sure that when you submit the IDs, you submit each and every ID for each and every sibling, and also your parents. And then your parents' income, this is very important. If your parents are not working, it's essential to get an affidavit as soon as possible and make sure from the affidavit it's stated that your parents don't have a substantial income that can pay for your fees and everything at the University of Pretoria. Um, with the affidavit, you can get it from a lawyer and make sure you get it stamped. And yeah, I think that is what is important with the income part of it. And then your school details, the high school that you went to, the level that you're studying. Now that most of you are doing your high school, you just mentioned the name of the high school. For instance, if you're from Kenya, it's Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education. I don't know with the other countries because I'm from Kenya, so you can just state the name of the diploma, the high school diploma from your country. And with the recent subjects, I think I've had a lot of questions surrounding that. Now that most of you maybe studied more than 6 subjects, 7, 8, it's important to state the ones that are very essential, like maybe physics, chemistry, biology, math, and English, because those are the ones that are wide enough, and those are the ones that are essential for what you're coming to study here. And the technicals, if you did computer studies or business studies or art or something, it's important to mention that. And yeah, now let's move to the sports part. So if you engaged in any sports activities in high school, it doesn't really matter the level. If maybe you did to maybe sub county or national, it's important to state that. And the certificates that you earn, maybe that you were awarded, sorry. And with that, it's not like necessary to have the certificates. Maybe you participated in something and your school was not giving out certificates. It's not really important. But make sure if you indicate that you are participating in some sort of sport, it is in the recommendation letter that you're participating. That will show some sort of truth with what you're saying. Now, when you're done with sports, we have the programs that you engaged in. So, with the programs, I would advise that maybe if you're studying computer science, you can't say you attended tech boot camps, conferences that are aligned with your field of study. And that will show some level of interest in what you're doing and what you've done before to support what you are doing now. Maybe you attended career fairs and that helped you to interact with people in the field. That is also important. And the next thing is we have leadership positions. Doesn't really matter if you are an environmental captain, if you are the school captain, if you are class prefect, make sure you mention that. And then with the academic prizes and the honors, That is where you state if you're maybe a leader and in your school you have the awards whereby you have the best prefect or best in a subject, maybe you are valedictorian, an Olympiad. It's good to mention that because Mastercard look for people who are, always on top of their game. So it's important to mention that when you are awarded the certificates or the sort of awards, it's also important to mention that. And again, with the leadership positions, it's important to state the number of maybe if your school had 1,200 students, just say I led 1,200 students in doing this and this. It's important to mention the numbers, what you did differently from the other. If you're a school prefect, definitely you had your own agendas. So what did you do differently? How did the school change during your tenure and all that? And yeah, then we move into the still with the activities. If maybe you have a foundation that you came up with something that addresses one of the gaps that are in the society, maybe gender equality or tech literacy, or maybe some sort of environmental startups, it's also important to mention that. And every other time that you're writing some sort of activities, it's important to mention your, I can't really call it an audience, but how many people benefited from what you're doing, what change happened, what should you do differently, and what you learned from it. That is also so important. And now I think I'm done with the activities, the honors, the sports, and all that. If you have any other question from that application aspect, you can ask later. And I think we can now move to the recommendation letters. So, Mastercard Foundation Scholarship, from the application form, they didn't state that they do need recommendation letters, but I can tell you for sure, most of us who got in, we had recommendation letters. And most of these recommendation letters were from companies or schools that are affiliated to Mastercard. So if you maybe studied under a bursary that is related to Mastercard Foundation, for instance, Wings to Fly, yeah, or any other organization that has partnership with Mastercard, I would advise to get recommendations from them and make sure they state that you worked with them and they are associated with Mastercard. That is going to give you some sort of high level acceptance. I can't call it acceptance really, but it's going to place you in a higher level with among the other applicants. And yeah, so with the recommendation letters, it's important to say how do you relate with the person who is recommending you. So before we proceed fast, let me tell you guys what I did with my recommendation letters. So most of the time, you find that the people we want to recommend us are very busy. They are people who have high ranking jobs and they won't really have the time to write a good recommendation letter. I can't say they can't, but then they can, but then them finding the time and maybe they don't really know a lot about you, but they know some tiny details, so that won't be so detailed. So I would advise you draft your recommendation letters by yourselves, because of course you don't know yourself more than the person who's writing the recommendation letters. So you can draft the recommendation letters. Yeah, say how you relate with them, what you did in their company, and then after you're done drafting the recommendation letters, you can now send it to them and make sure you are respectful enough to tell them, I wrote this recommendation letter. I'm applying for the Mastercard Foundation Scholarship. I would like you to review it. And if you find out that there are some details that are missing, or maybe I exaggerated some part of it, we can review it together and maybe add some detail, or, you know, get off some details. That is very important. And yeah, that'll be okay. So now I think we can now move to what you should include in your recommendation letter. So I hope I'm not going fast. Someone confirm, am I fast?
Okay, good enough.
Okay. Let's continue then. So, as I mentioned earlier, it's important to state your relationship to the person who is recommending you. If they were your mentor, if it was the if it's the school principal, they should say you are their student. Maybe if you worked somewhere, if you're okay, for instance, my recommendation letter was from Equity Bank, and the manager was recommending me. So he was my supervisor. So that is what he stated in the letter. And aside from the relationship, how did you stand up? What made you stand out from the other audience? Because if it is a workplace, there are a lot of students who are there. If it's school, you have like 2,000 students. How different are you from the others? Why would the recommender say you're a better thought than the rest? So it's important to state that maybe you are so confident, you are a good leader, you did your things differently. It's essential to state that. And what did you contribute to the organization? If it's the school and you are the school prefect, get the principal to state that during your tenure, maybe the students were more respectful, they were good timekeepers, maybe there was peace in the school, there was no strike. Yeah. And the next thing is, as I said earlier, it's important to state the numbers. Who are you leading? Or among, let's say, 100 students, I stood out by doing this and this and this, to show that they're people, but then you're different, you're unique. It's important to state that. The next thing is, if you're maybe studying computer science, the recommender, or now that you're the recommender, or maybe now that you're giving your ideas to the person who's going to recommend you, maybe you can get them to write some aspects that match what you're coming to study. If you're studying computer science and you're working in a place where you had computers, how about you say that maybe every other time there was a breakdown, the other workers could rely on you to help them sorting out the issues? Or maybe you are curious enough to ask questions from the IT person in the organization. Yeah, or maybe you could show that every other time that you had a meeting, you made sure that you contributed. And that was a good aspect in showing that you're a good leader and a good suit for prestigious scholarship like Mastercard Foundation Scholarship. And the next thing is, oh, as I've said, that is something that is reflecting what you're coming to study. If you're coming to study engineering, maybe just say how you could maybe come up with questions every other time, or just trying to get ideas from them on how some problems could be better solved that are affecting the community that you're coming from. And the next thing is, so as you enter the recommendation letter, make sure it's stamped and signed by the person who is recommending you. And I hope I've covered enough with the recommendation letters. And you can get as not exaggerated, but as many as you can. Maybe one from your school and maybe one from where you worked. So two is enough. Three is a bit exaggerated, so I'll say two is enough, and one is also enough. Just make sure you get a recommendation letter and it's stamped. It has a letterhead. Maybe it's from the school of where you're from, or where you are working. It has a letterhead. And I think I'm done. My colleagues will contribute later to if I forgot any sort of aspect with the recommendation letter. They're gonna say it later. Okay, now we can move to the documents that you need when applying for the scholarship, because documents are so important. It shows who you are, if you are really someone who exists, or if you're worth awarding the scholarship. This is what also says it. So first, you need an admission letter from the University of Pretoria. Okay, despite the fact that an admission letter is very essential, it's important, and it's stated in the application letter, it's also stated that it might happen that you're not already admitted by 31st August. And of course, you can submit the admission letter if you're not yet admitted, if you don't have the admission letter already, but you have the student number that starts with T. So you're going to state that and state that you haven't received the admission letter. So if you don't have it, it shouldn't be any headache, sorry. And the next thing is your result slip or matric certificate from any country that you're from. You're gonna need your matric certificate or something that outlines your final results. And the next thing is the proof of income for your parents. So, as I said earlier, if your parents don't have like substantial income, something that can pay for your fees and your residency and all the documents, you can get an affidavit from a notary public or a lawyer, get it signed, and make sure it's written by your parents and they both sign the document. Then the next thing is if it happens that unfortunately your parents are deceased, you're gonna have to get their death certificates and upload it. Or maybe if you live with your guardian and unfortunately the guardian is deceased also, you're gonna have to submit the death certificate. Then the next thing is you'll need your parents or your guardian's ID or passport. Maybe your parents don't have passports. Don't worry, just submit their identity cards. That is gonna be fine. And also for your siblings. And as I said earlier, make sure that the names you state and on the first part of the application, where you ask your siblings and your parents' information, are the same names to the same documents you're going to submit later. That is very important. And then the next thing is if it happens that you're a refugee living in another country, it's also important to submit your refugee ID. And if you have any sort of disability also, I think there are documents that shows that you have some disability, so you're gonna have to submit that also. Yeah, so make sure that before you submit your applications, you have a complete checklist of all the documents that you need because it's gonna be hard to get in if you have an incomplete application. So yeah, make sure that you go through it over and over again to make sure that you have all the documents that you need. And yeah, I think I'm done with that. If you have any questions, we'll have a Q&A session later, but you can also pose your questions in the chat box. I'll get to answer them. And I'm gonna give it back to Melvin.
Thank you, Rosa. Rosa has explicitly stated that you need the recommendation letters, you need the all the documents, that is, you need all the documents with you. I think my advice would be for you, before you start any application or before you continue with your application, I feel like you're supposed to have all the documents with you because some of these documents are gonna give you a lot of headache when you're looking for them. For example, a recommendation letter can take like a week or two because you have to write it by yourself, because Rosa has said that you have to write the document and then send it, or maybe give it to the recommender, and then the recommender might proofreads it and then gives it and then and then stamps it. So some of these documents are gonna take a lot of time, and you need to have them as early as now. Please don't wait for deadline, because among the mistakes that I'll tell you I submitted my application on the deadline day, like, yeah, the deadline day, the eve of the deadline. So please don't do that. It's gonna cost you a lot of pressure and everything. So another thing is, Rosa has stated about the activities and the honors. You're supposed to to have a specific number, like and also evidence as well as the impact you did. So for example, if for my case I was maybe a hockey captain, so I'm gonna say like what was my impact when I was a hockey captain at my school. uh, I do also have evidence because in my recommendation letters they have stated I was a hockey captain. So without much further ado, I will welcome Yvonne Kendi. uh, she will explain the first essay that you do experience in the undergraduate document that states how your course or how your program that you're going to study you will have impact in your life. Like, because you're gonna in my presentation I'll explain about how you are supposed to connect your degree of study with giving back. So Yvonne is going to explain of how your degree will help you in that. So I'm gonna welcome Kendi. Kendi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I can hear you.
Okay,
I
thank
had
you.
some technical issues. I'm sorry about that. Thank you, Melvin. My name is Yvonne Kendi. I'm a Mastercard Foundation Scholar at the University of Pretoria, currently pursuing my first year in BIT, Information Technology, specializing in information systems. And I'm gonna help you understand the first question that you'll find in the essay section. It's about Melvin said the question, but I want to repeat the question. It's explain how your choice of study will impact on the career that you plan to pursue. So in this question specifically, you'll be answering how the relationship between your course of study and your career, very specific. So like if you're pursuing accounting science, where do you see yourself as an accountant? What do you aspire to do as an accountant? If you're pursuing computer science, IT, something tech related, how do you see yourself as a tech person? So for this question, one, you should actually be very specific on what you want to do. You don't write an essay where you're like, I might do computer science. If I do computer science, I will become blah, blah, blah. And then in the second paragraph, if I do engineering, if I get this. No, you should be very precise and very specific about the course that you want to do and how it impacts your career. But first of all, you need to be very specific about what you want to do. Don't use like vague words like I'll be in business, I'll be in something. Be very specific. That is the first thing about this question. Secondly, do your research very well. Understand the course that one thing you need, Melvin already said he'll talk about the degree you're doing in giving back. So you should understand it's about this question that I'm helping you understand. It's your choice of study and the career you want to pursue. So you should have done prior research very well and understood I am pursuing, let's say, engineering. Right now I'm an engineering student, or if I get the scholarship, I'll be an engineering student. This is how it will impact my career. So the second thing is do your research very well. Know your job after doing the degree that you want to do. So yeah, look at the jobs the degree offers and understand very well, so that in your essay you can write, maybe I want to do accounting science and then in future I'll be an accountant working in a specific place, something like that. Three, you should be able to, join the dots according to my perspective of the question, how your choice of study will impact the career you plan to pursue. You should be able to show us, I am pursuing this. It's probably it's joining the dot means you're taking us, Rosa talked about the consistency of your application, like where she mentioned the names of your siblings and the certificates matching. So initially you told us you love tech, so all of a sudden you don't love tech, you love accounting very much. You see, it doesn't make sense. Make your application very smooth. You talked about how you love, for example, in my application, I am very interested in tech. I love, working in the tech space. When you talk about the career in my choice of study, I'm studying tech, and I would love maybe to work in a technological space and stuff. So I should be able to make my application very systematic, such that I mention let's say my hobby, I love coding, something like that, So just join the dot and make your application very smooth as you can in answering that question. Don't make it very ambiguous, or don't leave the recruiter asking, is this the same person who said, they don't love this and this, and now all of a sudden they love a specific thing. So make your application very smooth. Yeah. And show that you've done your research and you know what you really want. Like you really, don't allow yourself to be confused in the choice of study and the career you want to pursue. Like you're busy saying you want to do accounting science, and then after finishing accounting science you become one of the best engineers in the country. You want, like, your career, you see yourself as an engineer, building stuff, working in engineering spaces, yet you saying you want to pursue accounting science. So that is basically, just use your knowledge very well, be able to connect everything. You're doing this and your research, generally just have good research about the course that you're applying for, or the course that you're admitted for, and the career you want to pursue. You have to link both of them. And keep it as real as possible. Thank you. Back to you, Melvin.
Thank you, Candy, for that. It was amazing. So, among the things that I hope you all have noticed is that Mastercard does not want academic tourists. What I mean is they don't want someone to come from Kenya, from South Sudan, from Eritrea, from wherever part of Africa to just come and study. Mastercard wants a leader who is well defined through his past, his present, and his future. So in the next part of our application, we'll check about giving back, because among the key things of Mastercard application is the act of giving back. And what I do advise scholars when you're doing any application, be it application to UP, application to Pennsylvania, any wherever you want to go. So please do check at the website, Mastercard Foundation website, and check the core values that foundation wants its scholars to have. For example, for Mastercard, among the things you're supposed to be a leader who is willing to give back. So in your applications, you're supposed to use verbs that have the act of leading. Like, for example, I took part in hockey. How do I say this? I took part in playing hockey for my school is totally different from I led a team of 21 players. You see, I led a team of 21 players is giving the act of being a leader. So in all your application, in whatever you're writing, have that act of giving back to the society and also being a leader. So in my next part, I'm the one who is going to present. I'll be talking about the act of giving back. So maybe I'll share my screen. You notice that the three questions. Okay, the question is asking about giving back, but it has three questions in it, where how have you given back in the past, how are you currently giving back, and how will you give back in the future. So yeah, I'm gonna share my screen. So because I was trying to demystify like 3 hours ago. So yeah, I'm in it. So it's not well organized, but it is organized. So this is my question. Engagement is an important aspect of Mastercard Foundation. What is your responsibility to the community? What volunteer work in your community have you been involved in the past, and for how long? So whenever you have any prompt, the first thing you're supposed to do is break down the prompt. I do believe that most of us were in matric school, high school, and we were being told whenever you're given a question, you're supposed to break it down to notice and realize the key aspects of this prompt. For example, you can see, like, even the Mastercard is telling you engagement is an important aspect, because even when you become a Mastercard scholar, you're gonna realize that you'll involve yourself in a lot of community work, going to the orphanage, going to whatever, giving back to the community, I mean. So what is your responsibility to your community? Like in this part, you're supposed to explain, you're supposed to state it as not stating, explaining, like you have to take it as your own obligation to give back to the community as your own responsibility. So, and they are also asking you, what volunteer work in your community have you been involved in? So in this part is where most scholars have challenges, because they do believe that giving back in an NGO or whatever big company is volunteer work. So someone is coming in my DMs and telling me, Melvin, I've never done any volunteer work. But the real thing is in these essays, the small things you do in your society are the ones which matter. Like, as long as you're consistent with giving back, as long as you're giving back, Mastercard wants you to have the heart and the act and the will of giving back to the society. So as long as you're giving back to the society, that is what Mastercard wants. It doesn't need for you to be in United Nations for you to give back. As long as, for example, for my case, I wrote about, okay, I have my essays with me here. Okay, where are they? Okay, you're gonna see them soon. But what I was saying is the small things that you do consistently in your life are the one that matters in this essay. So another thing you can see is what volunteer work in your community have you been involved in? So in the past and for how long? So the act of being specific with okay, a minute. The act of being specific with the timeline of when you did this, because being specific with your details, for example, okay, let me just go to how I demystified it. Oh, it's disorganized, but I'm gonna see. So yeah, so the first thing is you don't define meanings in your applications. Like, for example, you're being told in high school, uh you're defining a prompt. Like, I don't want to see like giving back is doing this and this to the poor. No, I don't want to do. So in this application, explain why you feel obligated to act, and you kind of connect your academic opportunity to a shared asset. So the blueprint of this part is like you kind of start with a narrative so that you can create a mental image, because this community, the people who are reviewing your essay, some of them even don't know. Okay, they do know, but at times you find that someone doesn't know where Kenya is. For example, someone doesn't know where Murang'a is in Kenya. So you want to explain the space, define the space of where you did the community work, because it creates a mental image and it kind of captivates the reader who is reading these essays. So another thing you're supposed to do is define the challenge you faced, and okay, not the challenge you are trying to solve. Yeah. And one thing you do realize with this essay, that is the first essay, what have you done in the past? Scholars tend to be too vague with their applications. For example, you're gonna see an example of an essay I was reviewing. Like the scholar was kind of too vague, and please, Elvis, maybe you can. Yeah, thank you. So I was saying that the scholars tend to be too vague with them in the essay writing. Like you find that like a scholar is stating, I went to the hospital, I swept, I did this and this and this. No, you're supposed to explain these activities in detail, because when you just list them, even the amount of words I think it's 300 words, then you'll have a shorter essay, and then it's gonna be a poor essay written. So key thing to write this essay, you're supposed to define a situation you are in, and in that situation, what task were you doing, and what action were you doing? And then after all that work that you did, were there good results? For example, maybe you can talk about you were tutoring a group of students in mathematics, and then after then you can state that 75% of them had their marks from maybe a pass to a distinction. You see, you're stating the results and you're being specific. So that is what is required from you when you're writing this essay. Another thing you're supposed to note is that, as I have said, it must not be an NGO. Informal volunteering counts. So free tutoring, organizing youth sports to keep children off street, as in you can easily notice that Mastercard wants a leader who is giving back and who is a leader. As long as your essays explicitly state that you are a leader and you have evidence that you have given back as a leader, then you're gonna win this essay, because I say this essay is the simplest but yet the trickiest to write. So for example, this is a blueprint I wrote from January 2026. I led, not I vol. You can see the difference between volunteered and led. Like the choice of words in your essay matter a lot. So I led a team of maybe 21 students in, then describe the challenge, like in maybe cleaning the streets, so that, okay, how is it in organizing sports, so in organizing sports so that children could stay away from the streets, you get. So for a duration of 7 months, so what were your responsibilities, what were you doing as the team lead in that event? So, and then after that, you're supposed to state from the activity that you are giving back, it bore fruits by how did it what are the results of the thing that you are doing, like these bore fruits in what impact did you make. So for example, you can state in this organizing sports for youth, you can state that the number of children in the street massively decreased from maybe 100 100 children per street to maybe 30 children per street. And then another thing, you're supposed to be genuine, like the activities that you did should make sense. Like you cannot tell me that like something that at your level you cannot be able to do. So now you're writing, for example, what is it? Okay, the thing is, be realistic with what you're writing, because at times you're gonna write some things that are unrealistic, and then you'll be asked for evidence, and then it's gonna be shy for you. So that is the first essay. Now I'll go to the second essay. So the first essay talks about how you did give back in the past. So this one is the second one is how do you see, okay, no, this is the second one. In what ways do you currently give back? So the second essay is simply asking you to describe your lifestyle that you have right now. So you're supposed to state that the act of giving back, you're supposed to show that the act of giving back is in you. Like that is what Mastercard want, because they just want to transform Africa through leaders. So you must show that you're a leader currently, not that after you left high school, then the act of giving back, they just vanished from you. So currently, I continue to dedicate X number of hours per week in what? Describe the activity and what are the results. So this is similar to the previous essay, only that the essay has changed from past to present. And then the other essay is how will you see yourself giving back in future. So this essay wants you to state after the degree you're doing. I was doing computer science, so I'm doing computer science currently at UP. So after the 3 years of my computer science, how will I see myself giving back in the society? So this is where you try to connect your degree, not try, you connect your academic degree with giving back in your society in future. So key things in this essay, since you're supposed to connect your degree with your essay, the first thing you're supposed to, when you're thinking about this essay, is don't think too small or too big. Sorry. So don't think too small or too big. So for example, too small is being having personal obligation. Yo, having personal obligation. For example, if in your essays is like I see myself earning money and giving it to my parents, like that is personal obligation. As a leader, you're supposed to be a leader in your community, in your society, and you're supposed to have community obligation rather than personal obligation. So another thing is be realistic and have an action plan. So being realistic is like you want to eradicate poverty from the entire of Africa. That cannot happen from, okay, it can happen, but then you have to be Elon Musk. So sorry. So you have to be realistic with your action plan. Start with where you are. So for example, my application was about helping old people set KRA pins in Kenya. Like KRA is Kenya Revenue Authority. So I was helping old people set KRA pins. And in future, I'm gonna see myself having a company that will educate and give this community, these old maybe these students, how do I state it? So what I stated is in future I'll have maybe a company that will impart skills, that is tech skills, to people who are not exposed to technology. That was what I stated. Like, just don't think too big and then don't think too small. So yeah, focus on realistic, scalable, and sustainable projects that are aligned to your field of study. For example, civil engineering. Okay, I don't know. So in this essay that you want how you want to give back to the society in future, you're supposed to identify the specific problem. My problem was in my society, most of the people are not equipped with tech skills. So that was my problem statement. So state that the precise skills I will acquire from UP. From UP, I'll acquire coding skills, web development skills, and all skills. State how you'll use the skills, and I'm not supposed even to use state. Explain how you will use the skills. You're supposed to explain. And then another thing you realize with these essays, you kind of try to use a narrative so that you can captivate the reader and glue the reader to your essay, because you will see some of the essays that I was reviewing from my scholars. Like, you'll see some of them don't have a flow. Like, when an essay does not have even the reader will have an issue in following your story. So among the key things in these three essays is your story is enough. Like, you don't have to work in an UN nation group or whatever. So your story is enough. You going to high school, coming from high school, being in St. John's, what you are doing in St. John's, and all the things. So being in St. John's has reminded me that having as as much proof as possible is very important for you, because we a certain a certain a certain committee who reviews this essay. So was stating one of the applications he received was from one of the Kenyans, and I happened to ask the Kenyan scholar, "Oh, what did you do to have a unique application that was different from ours?" And she told me that she had all the documents in her application, like all the documents supporting this community work. For example, when she was in Red Cross in high school, there's a letter for that. When she was in a band in Mount Kenya University, there's a letter for that. So like, have as much things to back up your application as possible. Among them includes the recommendation letters and the letters that shows you are doing something. So another thing that I stated here is use first personal pronoun. That means that you're talking about I, not we. Yeah, just that. And then I'm gonna be against the use of AI in this thing, because you do realize that AI generates generic essays that don't have true voice. You see, there's that true voice when you're explaining you are working maybe in a public hospital, helping the workers clean the hospital. There's a true voice in that, rather than using AI. Like, AI just gives you a funny vibe. So here is one of the essays that one of the scholars wrote. So I'm talking things that most of you do. Can you hear me, guys? I hope I'm not too fast. You can confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So, should I read this one? No, let me choose someone to read it. I think Alvin is in the call. Alvin Recha, please read this for me. Yeah. Let me see. Okay, Alvin is not there. Kalondo, maybe you can just read this for me. I've unmuted you.
I mean,
Okay. Please read it. Sorry. Yeah, there you go.
okay, thank you. Should I read from the start?
Yeah, from after completing high school. This is the first essay that shows how do you, okay, let me see a minute. In what ways do you currently give back? So this was one of the essays that one of the scholars wrote for me. So you'll start from after completing high school, I returned to the community. Yeah, you'll start from there.
Okay. After completing high school, I returned to my community and decided to use my time well through volunteering. Let me just add the lighting, sorry. I joined Busia Township Mixed Secondary School as an intern teacher, where I requested an opportunity to tutor information and communication technology. In addition, the school has given me a chance to teach biology, mathematics, and chemistry to Form 4s. This is bearing in mind that I scored an A in mathematics and biology and an A- in chemistry in the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education. Currently, I teach ICT to 17 grade 10 students and sciences to 124 Form 4 candidates. Being called a teacher at such a young age, especially by students who are older than me, is both humbling and motivating. Teaching ICT has given me an opportunity to apply my computer skills in practical ways, mostly Microsoft Office and Google Workspace. The experience has greatly improved my communication and leadership skills. I wake up every day looking forward to bringing a positive change to my learners. Furthermore, it has always been a moment of growth when I show up for my Form 4 classes. Since I am their age mate, I relate to many of their hardships. I keep on reminding them that success is possible regardless of their background. Some students who almost gave up in their education have now renewed their strength to continue with their studies. I feel proud seeing an improvement in their performance. Through teaching, I have learned that service is not measured by wealth, but by the willingness to use one's ability to uplift others. Serving my community has strengthened my passion for leadership, mentorship, and community impact. That's it.
Oh, I was muted, sorry. So thank you. So from the essay, you can see that among the things you've explicitly stated that are the key things that most of us are having mistakes. So I typically use this essay because I was reviewing, and most of the challenges that the scholar had are among the challenges that I was going to explain about. So I reviewed this essay in 4 aspects, that is evidence and specificity, and also I reviewed it in terms of personal agency, and also reviewed it in depth and reflection. I also reviewed it in how does it align with Mastercard Foundation values. So in the specifics, in being specific and having evidence, the scholar has stated about the school. You can feel like it's kind of a narrative, and the scholar has stated, you can see that she has stated about the high school she was, and there are stories. So there's being specific aspect in that. But among the key things that are missing in these essays is the duration. Like, she has not told us for how long were you being an ICT peer teacher, like for how long, you can see, but she has stated about the impact that she created in that, but she has not stated about to what extent was the performance improved. So another thing is personal agency, naming that she proactively requested the opportunity to tutor ICT is an indicator that this person is a leader. So this is what we want in our essays. Like in your essay, show the aspect that you want to be a leader, and like let it just come from the essay that you're writing. So another thing is maybe the scholar has not explained about the how maybe the how he or she managed to overcome the challenges of maybe the challenges he or she might face has faced during the experience of being a tutor or intern. So maybe of having all tutoring old peers is maybe a challenge, yeah, but she or he has not stated how he managed to gain respect or bridge the authority gap. So yeah, like in your essays, please state how you manage to overcome a challenge. And for you to say how you manage to overcome a challenge, you must explain the challenge. So how does it align with the Mastercard Foundation value? So whenever you're writing an essay, you must, at the end before submitting it for review or for submission, you must check, does it align with Mastercard Foundation values? So that means that you have to go to the Mastercard portal and check all the Mastercard values that are stated there. So the philosophy in the final paragraph, it aligns with the act of reciprocating what you have to the community. So here is what this is what I wrote. It's not the best, but you can simply state, you'll see the difference between what was there and what is now. So someone else, Anne.
Okay. At this stage of my life, I give back by being intentional with the small opportunities I have. I may not yet have vast resources, but I have time, patience, and skills that can make a difference in someone else's journey. One way I give back is through mentorship. I maintain weekly visits to a local children's home where I guide two orphans academically and emotionally. Sometimes it is help with the homework, but often it is simply listening, reminding them that they are seen and valued. For me, giving back is not only about knowledge transfer, but also about restoring confidence and hope. I also use my computer knowledge to help members of my community navigate everyday challenges, whether it's setting up online accounts, filling digital forms, or explaining how technology can simplify tasks. I share my skills freely with those around me. I treat each request for help as a chance to empower someone who may not have had the same exposure to technology. Finally, I give back through consistency. It is easy to show up once, but true change requires showing up again and again. Whether with the orphans I mentor or the neighbors who ask for digital assistance, I make giving back a lifestyle rather than a one-time act. This is how I live out my commitment, not waiting for the right time or enough resources, but using what I have now to make someone else's life a little lighter.
Thank you very much for that. So I think you can feel the difference between the first essay and the second essay. So this is the essay I submitted. So the thing is, I'm doing computer science and I was applying for scholarship to do computer science at UP. So I had to bring the aspect of technology in my essay. So you can see the act of computer knowledge and explaining how technology works. So this is what I was saying, like it doesn't have to, for you to be working in United Nations, for you to be qualified to be a Mastercard application scholar. These small details that you do, like you can see I was explaining about sometimes helping them with their homework, like just assisting with their homework. That matters a lot because it is showing that I'm willing to give back to them. So, and then you can see the act of consistency. I have stated that it is easy to show up once, but true change requires showing up again and again. So the act of consistency, the act of giving back, the act of being a leader in your essay matters a lot in your application. So the thing is, I've said this essay is not the best because you can see at the same time there's some things of it is not kind of specific because I've not stated about the time duration and stuff, but you are supposed to state that. So yeah, and then this is the second essay. It is about how do I see myself giving back in future. So this is where I was stating about using what you learn in high school, not in high school, in UP, what Mastercard is paying for you to study, and what you'll get, the skills you use, the skills you acquire, how will you use them to give back to the society? For this, I'll have Nicholas Njoroge. Can you hear me? Please unmute. Yeah.
So volunteering in my community has enabled me to identify areas that need improvement. So far, like I have worked in 3 different hospitals and 1 school. In all areas, modern technology has not been put to work yet. This is due to lack of devices and skilled personnel. Talking about hospitals, I look forward to seeing data being recorded in computers rather than working with paperwork. Papers are more expensive because they require continuous replacement, while a computer only requires maintenance once bought. In the school that I am currently working in, students do not have access to even a single computer. They mostly depend on teachers' phones and laptops for learning. I often laid out my phone to help them carry out research and improve their understanding. All this is despite the fact that it is a public institution and the government should be responsible for equipping the school with required resources for effective learning. In the future, I look forward to improving my community by enhancing access to technology. I plan to do this by starting a government organization that will provide computer training to community members. This will include young people and even adults who will be interested through this initiative. I also hope to secure adequate finances that will enable me to donate laptops to schools that suffer from technological shortages. Keeping young people with computer skills will enable them to employ themselves and greatly reduce poverty in the community.
Maybe Nicholas, you can tell us about what are the key things, the key weaknesses you saw when you were reading this essay. Maybe you can just quickly tell us, like, what do you feel is wrong with this essay?
I can't state out clearly what I think so far, but as we continue listening from you guys, because you have gone before us in the same process, I can say I'm learning from you guys. So I can't say clearly what I feel.
Okay, it's fine. So I'll take you through this. These are just the specific personal agency. They're just the same. I'm gonna share this document with you soon. But these are among the red flags that I also. The first thing is the blame game. The scholar is blaming the government for not equipping public schools with resources required. While it is true in among the countries, well, you're not supposed to have a political commentary, like pointing fingers to the government. Like, it's kind of distracts from your personal leadership and can make you sound a bit bitter. So however, this scholar could have stated that, maybe frame the lack of resources as a situational challenge that motivated him or her to step up rather than having a blame game. So that is among the key red flags that this essay has. So number 2 is being generic over having a concrete evidence. So the issue is, we have 3 different hospitals and 1 school, which is too vague. Like, even the name is not, the names of the schools and the hospitals are not even stated. So the committee wants undeniable proof that can track your record. Without names, durations, or metrics, then the narrative kinds of feels incomplete. So at least the scholar could list 1 name of the hospital or the school, and then specify the dates and hours spent in volunteering. So another thing is, there's another red flag, which is a cliche, that is NGO and laptop donation, future plan. Yeah, you can like, it just feels so generic, and it's kind of There's no uniqueness in you. Remember when Mastercard is reviewing your application, there are maybe we can have like more than 3,000 scholars who have applied, but only 200 or less will get the scholarship. So you have to be unique in your application. So among 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 students, how is your application unique? So that is among the key things I do ask a scholar when he is submitting an essay to me, like, how unique are you in your essay? Like, if I write this, you see I'm unique than you. So if there's a phrase, be the most unique, then be the most unique. So almost 50% of applicants promise to start an NGO and donate technology. Like, most of them do that. Like, they want to go to UN, yeah. And laptop donation is incredibly expensive. So for someone finishing that year, you say, I'll finish computer science after 3 years, and then you want me to donate laptops to maybe a large number of students, maybe like 200, and then that's gonna be kind of unrealistic. So most importantly, the plan is the plan should be connected with your studies, and then don't think too big as well as don't think too small. So the fix of this could be, maybe the scholar could have maybe built a direct bridge between his intended degree and the solution. The scholar is doing computer science, or rather IKS, so he is supposed to explain how he will use that technology to build maybe a website that is offline but has digital resources like books. Like, for example, you can have a website that is offline. So offline means that you are not required to have internet connection, but you can access these books that the government did not offer. But you're not supposed to say the government did not give us books. You see, that is a blame game. So yeah, so I'm gonna read this. This is what I wrote as well. It's not the best, but you will see the difference. So in future, I see myself giving back by creating spaces where technology becomes a lifeline rather than a luxury. So I dream of establishing a community innovation, establishing community innovation hubs across Africa. So you can see I'm starting from the community and then going to Africa. So that is what I was trying to mean. Don't just be dreaming too big. Just start from your community. So these are safe places where young people, especially those from disadvantaged backgrounds, can access computers, internet, mentorship at no cost. So these hubs will teach digital skills, will not just teach digital skills, but nurture creativity, entrepreneurship, and problem solving. That is turning ideas into solution for local challenges. So in that first paragraph, you have seen that, like, I am, or rather, the writer is has clearly stated the challenge that he or she is experiencing in his or her community. For my case, it is him. So I was stating that in my community, most of these students or most of these young people who come from disadvantaged backgrounds have no access to internet, computers, as well as mentorship. So that is what I'm going to be offering when I finish my computer degree. You can see it aligns with my degree. So beyond physical spaces, I envision building online platforms that connect rural youths to global opportunities. So many talented young people are cut off simply because they lack access, not ability. Because you can even agree with me when you're reading this essay that I I deeply know the challenge that most of these young people experience, that in our community, most of these young people lack access to opportunities, but they have the ability if given the opportunities. So, like, have a detailed challenge that you want to solve. So by developing inclusive digital tools, I want to bridge this divide and ensure that no one's potential is silenced by geography or poverty. I also see myself multiplying impact by training others who will in turn train more. Just as I once sat with a few youths around one laptop, I want to ignite a chain reaction where knowledge keeps spreading long after I have left the room. Ultimately, giving back, so you can just feel the act of giving back is here. Giving back in the future means making sure the next generation does not inherit the same obstacles I faced. I want to use computer science not just to code programs, but to rewrite stories, that is, stories for orphans who discover hope, of unemployed youths who create jobs, of communities that rise through innovation. Like you can see that in my problem statement, I do take the problem as my obligation to solve it. That is what is required for you. The Giving Back Act is supposed to be an obligation to you. So that is how I see myself giving back, by planting seeds of opportunities that grow into forests of transformation. Yeah. So that is my presentation. So I'm gonna welcome Samuel Katana, who will state about the background, how you're supposed to let me stop the share. So I'm gonna welcome Samuel Katana, who will take us through the third and last part, where he will explain to us about the how you are supposed to write about giving back. So we give this part to Samuel Katana. Samuel will tell you about the many opportunity he has got involved in. He is in Youth for Youth movement in Africa. If you know it, is okay. He will explain to you who he is. So that is why we gave this part to him. Samuel, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Hello, everyone. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Samuel Katana. What I can say to you guys is that you're in safe hands. Maybe some of the opportunities that I was lucky to be a part of is, as Melvin was saying, this movement is called. It's a global movement. It's called For the Youth by the Youth movement. I'm also part of the Global Change Makers movement. I'm also part of other organization, and maybe to just like as a reference, I got accepted to New York University, University of Miami, Rhode Island University, and such. So yeah. So what I'm basically trying to tell you guys is you are in good hands. Yeah, and I'm going to try to be. I'm sorry, I had other commitments, so I don't have anything to present with, but I am going to try to my best to so that I can be articulate. And if you guys have any question, please don't hesitate to ask. So I was told I'm handling three aces, and from I don't know if there was a miscommunication, but I thought like I was handling describe a situation where you had to overcome a significant obstacle, and also the YU essay, and another essay that I was prepared for was your family circumstances, your financial background, and such.
Yeah, that
So
is what you're supposed to. Yeah, that is what you're supposed to.
okay, nice. So I'm going to start with just a minute. Yeah, I'm going to start with the describe a situation where you had to overcome a significant obstacle. And maybe before I just start, is just I would like to tell you all that the essay is one of the most important things in your application, because it differentiates you between like this is like, let's say, one of the determining factors if you get the scholarship or you don't get it. And well, one thing that I can tell you is that when you're rating your aces, you show, don't tell, like a story with details such as a name, a place, a number, beats any adjective. Like if you say I'm resilient, it's worthless compared to like a story that proves like you are resilient. And okay, on to the first prompt. This one too, it looks like a normal, like a one question, but in real sense, like it has three parts, and which is like describe the situation you had to overcome, that is the obstacle and its effect, and how did you react, what did you actually do, and what did you learn from it. And well, maybe most of the students usually like maybe they focus on one particular aspect. Like a person might focus on like the problem and forgetting like the other two parts. So with this I would advise you split it into into threes, like a third telling the problem, a third, or not telling, showing the problem, a third where what did you learn, or like a third what did you do about it, and a third what did you learn. And maybe like So in this, maybe to walk you through it, I'm gonna start with the challenges. That is the obstacle itself. Like, was it fees? Did you lack fees? Did you lack illness? Maybe distance to school, like just loss of someone. Like, yeah, those are maybe like some of the challenges, and the effect is that how did your world change as a result of that? Like, at this part, I would advise, don't put emotions yet. Like, just concentrate on the concrete external factors. And well, its purpose is to differentiate your experience out of like the common challenge from anyone else who has faced the same thing. Like a 10 student might write we were poor, and then only one's write I shared a textbook with my brother, I copied by hand at night, like such things. Yeah. And maybe, and then you go part to the feelings, like name the emotions honestly. And then maybe you can go after that, you go to the need part, and that is, what did you deeply need underneath it? Like, was it stability, dignity, or to keep learning? And then the part where what did I learn about it? That is the action. And this becomes the heart of the essays and stuff. And well, some of the things that are going to kill your essay in this part is like when you are all challenge and no action. And then maybe you're using trauma as a point. Like, you don't have to write about your worst pain. And you like it's not a competition to see like who has experienced more pain than the others and stuff. So like this in this part, agency moves the reader than agony. And in this, I would like show them the magnitude, like what was at stake. Like, okay, you had this challenge, and what was at stake, like because of this, like what was going to happen, uh, and that kind of stuff. So I would like to maybe I wish like I had like prepared something. Maybe let me just, maybe I can copy it and paste in the chat so that everybody can see. I'm just going to, this is a brief example of what a weak response could look like. Let me just send it to the chat so you can see, but I'm going to try and read it at the same
Maybe
time.
somewhere, Katana, what you can
Yeah.
do maybe is you can just open our Word documents, share your screen, and then paste it there. I think that will be a bit neat.
Yeah, but I already copied it, pasted it in the
Okay.
chat. I
Okay,
hope
it's fine, it's
everyone
fine.
can see it. Yeah. And okay, for the weak example is my biggest challenge I faced was poverty. My family was very poor and life was very hard. There were many days we did not have food. I studied without electricity. Despite all these challenges, I never gave up. I stayed strong and focused on my dreams. I believe challenges make us stronger, and I learned with determination anything is possible. This experience taught me to always work hard and no matter what. And why the reason why this type of essay will fail is because like it's all challenge, no action. The lesson is a slogan and interchangeably with 1,000 other essays. And maybe like, let me just paste another brief version of it, like which in my opinion is a stronger version that one can submit it. I'm going to also paste it in the chat. Just a minute, sorry. Yeah. And then this is, in my opinion, a stronger version of the same AC. And then okay, maybe somebody can read it in the chat. Let me see who is in here. Damaris Kemunto.
Yes. In my second term of Form 3, the head teacher sent me home for fees. My mother sells vegetables, and a poor season meant there was nothing to send me back with. I was the top student in my class, and I was about to become the one who did not finish. I did not wait to be rescued. I asked the head teacher whether I could clean the classrooms and mark the law forms homework in exchange for part of my fees. He agreed to cover half. For the rest, I began tutoring 3 Form 1 pupils whose parents could pay a little. I woke at 4 to study before the work started. I was not a clean victory. My, sorry. Yes, I woke at, where am I again? Okay, I woke at 4 to study before the work started. I was not a clean victory. My grades slipped for one term before they recovered. But I sat my exams and I passed well enough to qualify for university. What I learned was not that I am strong. Plenty of strong students still go home and never return. I learned that a problem that looks like one locked door usually has smaller doors around it, and that asking for a fair exchange is not the same as begging. Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, okay, thank you very much. And in this type of essay, you can see like the reason why it works. Roughly a third of the setup is the obstacle and the stakes, and a third of it is pure action, and a third is also like a lesson specific enough only to belong to that particular writer. And this shows agency. It names the goal and it refuses like the essay, the essay slogan, like the as it was in the first instance. Like yeah. And one thing that like I would advise you, I would advise you guys is that the essay needs to be specific. Like before you submit that particular essay that you have, like can you think like can somebody else write exactly what I wrote? And if you find out like if you feel like somebody else can write what you wrote, then you need to do something about it before you submit it, because like the essay needs to be specific to you. And well, I'm going to we have a WhatsApp group, and I'm going to share some of like the tips when I've organized them in a particular order and stuff. I'm going to share it with you guys, so when you get time, you can go through it. Well, that's the part about the overcoming significant obstacles, and I'm going to jump straight to why you essay. Like, why should I pick you over the 50 of the 55 of or like 60 of you that are in this call right now? And well, this is not a question of why you do deserve it or like why you do need it, because like plenty of people do deserve it and plenty of people need it. This question specifically is why you and this program fit. And as you all know, like Mastercard funds people who like go back and lift others. Like I think that's the general theme when it comes to Mastercard scholarship. And in this, I'm going to tell you, like, don't sell the program. Like, don't say this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You changed my life. Oh, they do know that. And maybe a lot of students write that. And with this, like the why you should be like specifically to you. It should be like something that only you can write. Yeah, and please don't go to their website and maybe just copy their slogan. Like, I believe in transformative leadership and giving back. The one will not get you anywhere. So this the strongest thing that you can do in this part of the essay is to prove is the proof you have the proof that you're already giving back before ending any funding. Most applicants skip this and jump to promises. Promise is cheap, guys. So if you have taught, you have mentored, you have organized, you have helped anyone, basically that's the heart of the essay. And well, here's the move that will mostly work for you guys. Instead of saying I lacked this, you can say despite lacking it. For example, you can say I never had a computer. If you say I never had a computer, that's a uh, weak statement, if I may say. Think of it writing like I taught code from a borrowed phone because the student had no computer lab. Like, let the gaps speak for itself. Like, it quietly says, look what I did with nothing. Imagine what I'm going to do with the support, maybe if you guys hand me the scholarship. Yeah, and maybe also I'm gonna give you an example of a weak version and maybe a stronger version of the essay. And like these are just brief, like, okay, I'm not saying like your essay should be like to this limit. Actually, I would advise you to make use of the word limit. Like if you have a 300 word limit, try as much as possible to like 290. Yeah, don't like do a 90 word statement. So I'm going to paste a weaker version of the YU essay, and then maybe a stronger version of the same. So just a minute. So with this one, can you guys see it? So I need a volunteer to read this. So I'm gonna randomly pick somebody from the call, and is there Weddy Daniel? Can Weddy? Oh, I guess she's not in the call. Okay, so McKenna.
Right. I should be considered because I am hardworking, disciplined, and passionate about my education. I come from a poor family, and and this scholarship will be a life-changing opportunity. I believe in transformative leadership and giving back to my community. If selected, I promise to make the foundation proud and use my education to help others. I am determined to succeed despite my challenges. Thank you.
Yeah, so like as you can see, and I want you to like see the difference between the first version and this version that I'm also going to paste it in. So can we have somebody else reading for us? Who Jay Mayonde. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Jay. Okay, Jay is not on the call with us. Okay, so Brian Mudomi. Are you guys sleeping or what? Okay, Grace Jerry. Okay, yeah. Namanya, you can read for us.
May I?
When I passed my exams, I was the only student from my village to qualify for university that year. My neighbors called it luck. I knew it was the 3 teachers who stayed after class for me. So I started doing for the children behind me what those teachers did for me. For 2 years, I have run free evening lessons for Form 4 students at my primary school. 11 of them sat their national exams last year. 9 passed well enough for college, including my cousin, the first in our family to study science. I do not need a program to teach me to give back. I am already doing it with a borrowed chalkboard and no funding. What I need is the degree itself so that what I do for 9 students at a time can do for my district. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So I hope you guys can see the difference between the first essay and the second one, because like the first one could be like anybody, like anyone can write that. I'm disciplined, I'm hardworking, and yeah, that kind of stuff. But like the second one, you can see how like the student is specific. Like you can be able to tell like what sorry, the second essay is specific, is a specific, is specific about one person doing like the specific things. So like you can easily contrast between the first one and the second one. And well, I guess like as my fellow hosts have have stated earlier in this call is that like there's glory in details, guys. Like make sure like if you did something, please show us like you did something and what is the impact of doing that. Like and please can like learn to work with numbers. Learn to work with numbers. So like you impacted this amount of students and this is what happened. Yeah, like that kind of thing. And yeah, without much ado, I would like to move on to the other question, and which is what else should we know about your background, your family, and your financial position? Well, guys, this is just an honesty question. Like it's whether it's for them to decide whether you actually fit the rule that this program is only for the people who can't afford to study. And so just be plain specific, but no, not really dramatic. Yeah. And please do not repeat your obstacle essay here. Yeah. This is okay for the part of what else should we know about like the else part. We really the context like it doesn't capture what else like what the rest of your application does not capture, like for example who's in the home, who earns what, who depends on whom, who pays your fees now, how are the numbers where you have them. Like for example, my mother sells vegetable and earns about X in a good month. She supports four of us. Tell them tells us more than a paragraph about struggles. Yeah, and I want you guys to see two opposite mistakes here. One one is performing poverty, piling on hardship to sound more deserving, and the other one is shrinking it out of pride, saying we manage when you don't. Both is the truth. Just state the real situation with dignity and let it stand. And maybe if there's something that explains a gap, a dip, a year you sat out, a parent who passed, where certain results dropped, yeah, this is the place where you can name it briefly without any excuses in maybe one clear sentence and then move on. And maybe if I could, let me just copy another version of the AC that I think I feel it's weak, and then copy another version that I feel, yeah, it's a bit stronger. So can I have, okay, instead of me looking through the names, can I just have a volunteer who wants to read? Anybody?
May I?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So my family is very poor and we have faced many financial difficulties. Life has not been easy for us. My parents struggle to provide for the family and paying school fees has always been a big challenge. Despite our financial situation, my parents have tried their best to support my education. I am very grateful for everything they have done and I hope to make their sacrifices worthwhile.
Okay, thank you. And this is another version that I feel is a bit stronger. I'm gonna, oh, somebody is asking a question. Shipping of- Yeah, I'll have the other course handle that the question that Daudi is asking. Just a minute. Let me just copy and paste. Yeah. And okay, can we still have the guy who was reading the previous one read also this one?
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, sure.
I am the third of five children. My father passed away in 2019, and since then, my mother has raised all five of us by selling vegetables at Ganzi Market, earning roughly 6,000 shillings in a good month and less in the dry season. My two older siblings left school after Form 4 because there was no money to continue, and they now help my mother rather than earning their own income. My fees this year are paid in pieces. The school allows me to clear the balance in installments, and a neighbor covered one term when my mother could not. There is no savings, no land we rent out, and no relative able to take on university costs. When I'm at university, the four people at home will still depend on the same vegetable stall they depend on now. I am not writing this for sympathy. I am writing it so you know exactly what stands between me and a degree, and that it is money, not will.
Exactly. Yeah. I hope you guys have seen uh, clearly the difference between like the first version and the second version. And well, what I can tell you is like you see, like they're actually self-explanatory. Yeah, the first one tells you nothing that you could have. The first one tells you nothing you couldn't have guessed. Like you can actually guess like, oh, we are you're poor and whatnot. But like when you read the second version of it, you could almost feel how, like you can almost feel like what the writer is going through, and like you can clearly see the picture of what they're going through, what their struggle, and the difference is it's specific, and it is calm, and it is true. So yeah, I guess at this point, oh, somebody is asking which essay is this one. Oh, this one is the what else should we know about your background, your family, and your financial position? So, guys, those are the three essays that I was asked to tackle. And maybe if you guys have any questions of or you like to somebody to review your essay, you can just send it to me. Yeah. Otherwise, I would like to welcome back my co-hosts so they can continue with the rest of the program. Melvin.
Thank you, Samuel. So, no, thank you, Katana, for that. You've demystified that part. It is a tricky part for you because most scholars do use their background as something to fight for, but Samuel has stated that you're supposed to use not to use your emotions in this essay. So I hope you are all listening. So yeah, so any questions? Do we have any questions? Maybe if you can just unmute, or maybe you can raise your hand, I can unmute you. Can you unmute? Sorry, can you? Okay, let me unmute you. Yeah, you can unmute.
Okay, thank you very much for the session. So my question is about SACCO certificate. I think that has not been discussed. So while applying on UP's website, so it is clear that SACCO is a requirement. But I did not have that SACCO certificate as at then. So I applied for the SACCO certificate, but it will take about 3 months before it gets processed according to the board. So what I did was I uploaded my payment receipt for the SACCO certificates to UP's portal. So my question is, will this SACCO certificate hinder admission, or one can get a conditional admission pending the time the SACCO certificate gets ready? So that is my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe Guy can answer that.
Okay, sorry, Melvin, can you repeat that question again?
So he was asking if the SACCO certificate, or he has applied for the SACCO certificate that is for postgraduate. So he was asking if it will hinder his admission or Mastercard. That is, if it will hinder his application to UP. If I did not get the question wrong, Soliu. Yeah, that was his question.
Okay, thank you. Now, brother, what is happening is that you can submit an application without the SACWA evaluation report, but once you applied, you've said that you have applied. So while doing the application, attach the proof of application for the SACWA certificate, and it won't hinder you from being admitted. If the result delays, then you will be admitted conditionally. Then later, when you provide the proof of, when you provide the certificate, then now the conditionality will be removed, and it will now be unconditional. So proceed with the application for admission, then proceed with the application proceed with the application for admission. Thereafter, after getting the feedback of the admission, you proceed with the application for the scholarship. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Gaia. Are you
Melvin,
satisfied, Solu?
I'm satisfied, please. I have a follow-up question to that, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much. When you say we should show proof when doing our essays, so can one perhaps attach maybe certificates or picture evidence in the application for the Mastercard scholarship, or just strictly the details requested there?
Thank you for that question. So, what happens is when you're maybe uploading evidence or something, if you can have a link that is attached to, for example, in the activities part, if you can have a link attached that when I click to that link, it will take me to that picture, that will work for you, because we have Bridget who did that and it worked for her and it was very fine. So if you can attach if it is an image, you can just attach a link attached to that will take you to the image, or maybe attach the PDF. Yeah, that is very encouraged. Is it fine for you?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we have Samuel. Samuel, maybe your question. Let me unmute you. Samuel, I've asked you to unmute. Oh, you've unmuted. Yeah, proceed.
Okay, thank you so much. I am Samuel Aime. I am speaking in Uganda, and I really want to thank all of you for the session. It is actually very educative, and we shall copy from that. What I just wanted to ask is that, the issue of SAQA, it is really something which is very serious. I applied for the SAQA. Remember, at first I applied for this for this scholarship at University of Western Cape. I secured the scholarship. I won the scholarship last year, but the issue of SAQA really disturbed me a lot. That has made me not to get admission from the University of Western Cape, but I've got the scholarship. So I lost that opportunity. But now I applied for the SAQA in around December, and up to now I've not received my certificate for the SAQA. Now that I'm going to apply to the University of Pretoria, I have the payment details all there. That's what I have attached in the applications. I don't know, is that going to affect me again, or that one can work well? Or are you people going to advocate for us, or it is something that we need to struggle for ourselves? Thank you.
Sorry for what happened to you, Samuel. It's gonna be fine for you this time, so Gaia can answer that question.
Okay, thank you. Though the first part I didn't get how he struggled, but okay. What I would like to tell Brother Samuel is, Brother Samuel, just go online and Google about the website of SAQA and get the contact information about their email address. Or okay, briefly I'll be posting the email address here. Then you can contact them and engage them, and you ask them how far they will respond to you. Then again, I think that if you applied last year until to date you haven't got the certificate, I think perhaps your former university where you did your undergraduate, maybe they have not updated, they have not given the update to the SAQA team, and SAQA team cannot proceed without that update from your former university. So it is good you contact the SAQA team, then they will update you on the status, and from there you will know what to do next. However, I think this team are not able maybe to, they are not able to, you're asking if they can maybe talk on your behalf. No, they are not able to do that. If they say that, that will be a lie.
Yeah,
Melvin,
thank
did I
you
leave
so much.
something on?
Yes. The university where I completed has already responded to the SACWA email. They have already approved the result, but I don't know what is happening. I think the problem could be with those people of SACWA, because I have a friend who is also facing the same challenge.
Okay, thank you, brother. So if your university you've confirmed they have already responded, then I'm sending you the email for the SACWA team. Then you engage them. So what you will do, you will write an email to them. If they don't reply, then after 2 days, you again. So in a week, contact them at least twice to remind them, because sometimes they delay before replying. Right?
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you for that, Guy and Samuel. I hope, Samuel, you're satisfied. So my question, the next person is Lauren Mwangi. Yeah, please guys send questions in the chat so that we can save on time. Yeah, while we are still answering these ones. Lauren, you can unmute.
Okay, thank you, Melvin. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so my question was, as I was looking into the application form, I noticed that they had mentioned that you must have at least a GPA of 70%. So if you do not if your GPA is not 70%, or maybe it's like something like 64, 65, will you still be like will you still be considered for the scholarship, or is it just going to be cut off immediately?
You mean you got what in high school? Because you're applying for undergraduate, right?
No, I'm applying for postgraduate. And
Uh-huh.
so the average cumulative GPA is 64%.
64,
But now for
right?
the Mastercard application, the form that you had shared on the screen, it indicates that you must have at least 70%. So will they
Okay,
still consider
Melvin,
your
let me help you.
application? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. So you got 64% of 64. That is you had second class upper division, right?
Yes.
Okay, with the second class upper division, you are good to go. The grading style of South Africa and grading style of Kenya are different.
Okay.
In South Africa, they use the percentage. In Kenya, we don't use percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So that 70 equals to a second class upper division in Kenya. So you are good to go. Apply. Don't worry.
Okay.
You
Thank you
stand
so much.
you stand a chance.
Okay, thank you.
Sell yourself well. Thank you. Then before the next question, there's also a question here by Wambui Gitau asking, hey guys, I joined late. Must we apply with SACA if we are from outside South Africa? For the admission, it is good to. For the admission, it is good to apply. However, if you still don't have that SACWA, then proceed and apply. Or you can make the SACWA application and attach a proof of SACWA application in your application for the admission. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine, Gaia. So maybe to add on what you've said in response to Lauren, it all depends on how you market yourself here outside. Like when you have Mastercard Mastercard requires you to have good grades, but it requires you to have a strong application rather than just a person who is having good grades. So as long as you have a nice application, so grades just come to back up your application. So just have a nice applications, and then it's gonna be fine for you. So Makamu, I don't know how to pronounce the first name, but maybe I can call you Shima Makamu. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, okay, thank you. So I wanted to ask, with me, I want to apply for the masters, for masters, right? And then I do not have academic records for my honors because I'm still on the institution. So what I have, it's only the completion letter. So I want to ask, are they able to get our academic records from the institution? So do I just continue and apply?
Thanks for that question. Maybe Gaya, are you in a position to answer?
No, I didn't get that question. I was replying to someone in the inbox, in the
Okay,
chat box.
she's asking about like she's applying for masters, but she's finished. I think are you finished with your honors? Maybe you can just do the question again.
Okay, so I'm done with my honors. I did graduate, but because I'm owing the institution, I cannot get the certificate and also my academic records. They keep them at the institution. So I want to apply for the scholarship to fund my master's. So I don't know if are they able to like access my academic records without me having to attach them to the application.
You did your honors at UP.
At UP. At UP.
Okay, with the UP, I think they're able to access.
Okay. All
They're
right.
able to access, but however, you should also maybe. Okay, Melvin, maybe this question you can mark it, then you also respond to her back later with a much more confident answer than what I'm giving right now. I know they're able to access it, but it is also good to consult further and have a very confident. However, proceed with your application. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
so maybe Makami will send me your email. Just direct message me in the chat and send me your email, and then I'm gonna respond to you. Yeah, I hope that will work for you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. So, do you have any other questions in the chat? There are people responding questions in the chat, so I don't think we have any other questions. As well as in, Soli, you have another question, right?
Hi, Melvin. I got the message in the chat, but I don't know if it has been explained. It's about the current xenophobic attacks in South Africa. So, will this have an effect on admission from other African countries, or what do you think about that?
Okay, thank you. That is a very important question, considering what is happening right now. So, what I'll advise you to do is, you see, this is a time quarantine. What I mean by that is, it's just gonna happen maybe for a month or two or something, and then it's gonna be over. As well as that is, University of Pretoria is located in a safer place, especially in the where Hatfield and maybe Hillcrest is located, because that is where you're gonna be residing in your circle is gonna be. So as long as you're not going to maybe Pretoria CBD or maybe to Johannesburg or wherever, as long as you're just staying within the premises of UP, you're gonna be safe. But in addition to that, I think this thing is gonna be over by the time you guys are coming here. Yeah, so don't worry about that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Now, Manya Sam Hosi, you have a question? I've unmuted you.
Yes, thank you, Melvin. This is really a very important session for us. And my question would go to the part of still, just to add something on SAQA. I also do happen to attend in some webinar like this, and some of the mentors there made a mention of there are some specific departments that have other ways to evaluating your results, and that could mean either SAQA might not have an impact when you apply to that specific department. Maybe that's something you people could further throw us more light on. And also, like when during my applications, I've really learned a lot here that you need to have proof of really what you do to so that to give evidence to what you do. So, for example, currently I'm in Uganda, and I work with World Vision Uganda. So now, for example, if I'm stating in my uh, in my essay, like currently I'm working with this organization, like how you said, as a point of proving that, can I still attach something of that nature, maybe something like a contract, to prove that yes, this is really something, yes, that is the evidence based to that, really. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the insights. That is amazing from us. So we're gonna have. So I hope you guys have noted about the Sakwa. Yeah. So we're gonna have who is this? Maybe Frederick Eze. Can you hear me? While he's speaking, maybe you can just send your questions in the chat to save on time. Yeah. Frederick, the floor is yours.
All right, sir. So thank you very much, sir. So I am Frederick. I'm an international student, a prospective applicant for UP. So my question is like this. So I want to ask and confirm, how is the process being done? And secondly, I want to be more specific about the question I first asked. So I've already applied to UP, but when I made my application using my original document, no USEF, nothing of that nature. So I paid the application fee, I uploaded my documents. So I want to confirm, because on Google, I saw a message that the current Mastercard Foundation Scholarship is still open up until August for undergrad, because I applied for undergrad. So I want to confirm, because the undergrad requirements stipulate that you should have been given admission before you will be able to apply for the Mastercard. So I want to ask if this current Mastercard application window is actually for the same application I initiated this same year, some weeks ago, for 2027 intake. So I would need you to help me clarify these things just before I know my next decision.
Thank you, Frederick, for that. So maybe you can have, even if you're in a space to respond, Candy.
I'm really sorry. Could he please repeat the question?
Okay, he's asking if the USAF matters, if USAF matters in your admission to UP, and if the period of application to UP as Mastercard application is the same. Yeah, if I'm not wrong. Is that your question, Frederick?
Yes, that is, sir, that is.
Amazing.
I didn't understand about the period, but about the USAF, yes, it's really important so that you can get full admission. You need the USAF, but in the application for the admission, you don't need the USAF because you'll be conditionally admitted. You won't be fully admitted without the USAF. But I think my advice, and most of us could advise you and other scholars, you first apply for the admission. You'll obviously get conditionally admitted because you don't have the USAF. After being conditionally admitted, you'll apply for Mastercard. Hopefully, you get the scholarship. When you get the Mastercard scholarship, is now when you apply for USAF because you're like 100% sure you're coming to UP. That is when you apply for your USAF. Before coming to UP, you apply for your USAF, and then when you get to South Africa, you go pick it physically so that you can be fully admitted. So you cannot be fully admitted without the USAF, but then being conditionally admitted doesn't limit you from getting the Mastercard scholarship. So apply the admission without the USAF first. If you're not in a position to get the USAF, apply without it. Get conditionally admitted. Apply for Mastercard very well. Hopefully you get the scholarship, and then when you get the scholarship is when you'll apply for the USAF and then pick the certificate physically in South Africa, give it to the school, and then get fully admitted. I think that answers your question, right? Yeah. The last part, the period, I'm really sorry, I don't understand what you're asking about the period and use. What are you asking about the period for getting admission, or what are you asking? Could you please explain, Melvin, or Either
Okay,
of
let me
you.
respond to that. So
Okay,
he's
thank
asking
you.
if the period of applying for Mastercard Foundation as well as application to UP is the same, but it's not the same. Mastercard application closes on the end of August, but for UP it closes on the end of this month. So by the end of this month, you're supposed to have applied to the University of Pretoria, and by the end of August, you're supposed to have applied for Mastercard Foundation. So apply to UP, then apply for Mastercard, then apply for USAF. That is what I did. Yeah, like you will get conditionally admitted and you use the conditional admission letter to apply for Mastercard. Yeah, I hope that answers you. Eze, you have the, yeah, you can just proceed.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. You clarified like more than half of what I was going to even ask. So my question now goes like this. Will UP give the admission? Is it likely UP gives admission before the deadline for Mastercard closes? Because that is very
Yeah,
essential
yeah.
that I
Yeah, that is what happens because most of us here in the call have already gotten the conditional admission to UP. So UP does give the conditional admission that states that you're conditionally admitted to this course, awaiting submission of user certificate. So that letter is the one that you use to apply for Mastercard. So the results for UP application come first, and then for Mastercard come later. Is that in order?
Yes, but does that mean they would give the admission before August deadline for the Mastercard?
Can I please
You
help you
mean,
answer that, Melvin?
okay.
I think I understand what he's asking. One of our mentors, Rosa, already mentioned that even if you still don't have. Personally, I didn't apply with the actual admission. I had the student number, just like Rosa said. You can apply with the student number if you don't have to worry about not getting the admission at the time of submitting the Mastercard application. You can submit with the student number that you'll have from the school. Actually, I submitted my application, and then after like 2 days, I got the actual admission letter, which I sent to Mastercard. So I think you can still apply with the student number, assuming your admission gets delayed, and then immediately you get the admission letter forwarded to Mastercard. I think Rosa already mentioned that. I'm guessing I answered or met your expectations, right?
Yes, you did. So basically, you're advising that I quickly begin to prepare for my Mastercard, regardless of whatever decision UP makes before then.
It's early to say quickly because Mastercard closes end August, if I'm not wrong, from what I'm hearing my fellow mentors saying. But if by then the day you want to submit and you don't still have the admission, it's fine. You can submit and then mention that you have a student number waiting for the admission letter and everything. But it's kind of very early to judge and be like quickly apply for Mastercard without the admission. Yeah.
Yes,
Amazing. That is
meanwhile,
great.
to add on what Ivona said, meanwhile, Frederick can start working on his essays. Then now, maybe from the month of let's say next month, you can now see if it delays so much that you cannot catch up with the deadline, then you submit. But if the admission letter comes before then you also submit. So start working on your essays. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Gaia. Do you have any other question? Samuel, do you have another question?
I think I'm working on Samuel is asking the questions on the chat box and I'm replying him. I think that one is just an whole and that this someone was asking what is Yusuf. Maybe you can tell her.
Okay, USAV is a certificate that an equivalent certificate that is used by South African universities to evaluate like if you qualify for the course you're applying to the university. So for that is for undergraduate. For postgraduate, it's called SAQA. So for undergraduate, it's a certificate that you do apply online, where you upload certificate, your KCSE certificate, your Tanzanian end of year certificate, I don't know how you call them, but that is what it is used to evaluate if you qualify for the course you're doing at a South African university. It is basically an equivalent certificate for your current certificate you have in your current country. Yeah, I think I've answered that. So meanwhile, we can invite Josiah Morioki. He's in the call and he is gonna close the meeting. And if he has more to talk, yeah, the floor is yours, Morioki.
All right. Thank you very much, Melvin. And thank you so much for all the mentors who've really done a great work, and to all the scholars. I think one thing that I would say to conclude is do not disqualify yourself, especially because with the different grading systems, I had a question about 64, whether that is qualification. The qualification in this case is either 70% or second class upper division. And for those who've completed high school, I know people who got admission even with a B or a B plus, which means that you really don't need to disqualify yourself. So thank you so much. I don't think I have much to add. I completely don't have much to add. I was on the call listening in, and all the questions were answered to the T. And that was the essence of this session. And I really appreciate the mentors and all the moderators for this coordination. And at Betterment Africa, we're here to support you through this entire journey. So feel free to reach out and feel free to get on top of the game. Yeah, make sure that, as Katana said, make sure that your essays are unique. Make sure that the essay you write is not something that someone else can write. And that means it should not be AI generated. I know that has been mentioned. Yeah, so thank you very much and all the best. I always love to say, let's meet in the streets of greatness. Yeah, in the pathways, in the streets where we are doing great things, and also helping, once you've gotten the scholarship, helping like the mentors are doing, helping other people to get their way through this way, because it's not easy, but when you have other people who've gone through it just becomes very bearable. All right, so thank you very much, and I think we can close with a word of prayer. So let us pray. Our Father and our God, we thank you for this wonderful evening that you've given to us. May you, oh God, help us that all the efforts that we have made in this call to understand the concepts, to understand the different activities that goes on to the application to the University of Pretoria, application to the Mastercard Foundation, that, Lord, this will not be in vain, and that at the end of it, all the efforts will bear fruit. We worship you and we give you glory. May you guide all the scholars and bless all the mentors for the wonderful work. Well done. We worship you and we give you all the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. So thank you and have a
Amen.
wonderful evening.
Amen.